In this tutorial in Microsoft Excel, I'd like to show you how to set up a simple variable payment on a loan. Let's assume you borrow money from a friend or relative, or someone borrows money from you, and you pay it back, but you don't always pay it on the same day of the month, and you don't always pay the same amount. You just want to pay it off one way or the other until it's gone, or someone pays you until the loan is down to zero. Let me show you how to set that up. What I've done here is, as I've set up an example, we have a sample interest rate in cell A1. We could set it to any number you like. Then we have the original loan in row number 4. We have the amount, we have the original date, then we have the running balance. And then in our formulas, we are going to compute enter into the shaded cell the amount additional paid on the loan and the date in which it was paid. Then we calculate the interest and the principal, the total payments, the cumulative payments in cell column F, and the cumulative interest in column G, and then we have a running balance in column H. Let me look at the simple formulas first. I'm going to click on cell E6, and in cell E6 we have the principal amount. Well, the principal amount is equal to B6, which is my payment for that entry, minus D6, which is the interest. So once I've calculated the interest, I just subtract that from the payment and I get the number here. And in column F, we have the cumulative payments, where I take the number above, and then I take the fresh payment, and that's how much I've been paid, or paid totally. And then on interest, I do the same thing. I look at the column above, look at the last payment interest, and then I add to it the current payment interest, and I get my total. And on running balance, it's pretty simple. I take cell H5 in this case, which is my former balance, and then I subtract my principal that was paid, and I get my running balance over here. The complicated formula is calculating interest. Let me click on that cell. What I've done is, to the right of the chart, is I've put the entire cell down in text, as I often do in these lessons, because we have to make sure that the cell to the left, the date, is not blank. If it's blank, it's going to print nothing. If it's not, if it turns out to be blank, my calculation will be screwy. Let me show you an example. In this cell here, I left out my if statement. I just said, let's take cell C7, which is a blank cell to the left, and subtract the date of the last payment, divide that number by 365, multiply that by the balance in the previous payment, which is my cell H6, and multiply that by my loan percent, which is 6%, and I get a negative $54,000 plus. So obviously that doesn't work. And so the reason we have this formula above, which you see on the screen to the right, is we have to make sure that C6 is not blank, the cell to the left, as we have here. So if this cell turns out to be blank, what we do is we print nothing. That's these two apostrophes. Otherwise, then we go through with the formula. Now watch what happens here when I put in a date. Let's say they pay on May 16th, 2018. Now I get a legitimate number here, and we'll give a payment of, say they pay $300, and that will recompute everything. But if you don't put in the allowance for a blank cell, you'll get some weird numbers in here. And so the proper formula, I'll delete that and I'll copy the cell above down. I'll get the same actual amount, but I won't have an error if this cell or it happens to be blank, because I need a date to calculate the interest properly. So the formula you see here and to the right. It's a nice way to track a loan with variable payments in Microsoft Excel.